So, good morning, students. So today we shall be uh, doing the area of a parallelogram using cross products. So, area of a parallelogram using cross products. Uh, what I shall be doing is uh, I shall prove that if you take two vectors like this, suppose this vector is p and this suppose this vector is q. Suppose this vector is q, okay, and we shall be doing p cross q. So what is p cross q? P cross q is the area of the parallelogram formed by two vectors that I shall prove. So let's write the formula first. So p cross q is basically the magnitude of p vector times the magnitude of q vector times the sine of the angle between them. You can take it theta, phi, anything, that's not a problem. Okay, times the unit vector perpendicular to the plane containing p and q. I am considering p and q on the plane of the board, so unit vector will go into the plane of the board. If you see my previous video, so the rule of cross product is you have to rotate the first vector to the shorter angle, so as to coincide with the second vector. So p is the first vector, q is the second vector, and n cap is into the plane of the board. So n cap will be into the plane of the board, into the plane. If you take q cross p, then it would have been out of the plane of the board. Okay, now let me show that this magnitude of p cross q. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the magnitude of p cross q. So that is basically the magnitude. We shall take this part only. This is the magnitude. Unit vector I shall not take, because unit vector's magnitude is always 1 and it's dimensionless. So so this is pq sine theta. I have already mentioned that magnitude of p is denoted like this, pq sine theta. So this should be the area of the parallelogram formed by p and q. So let's prove that. What I shall do is I shall draw the parallelogram. Let's slide q, keeping it parallel to itself. So this vector is q, and let's slide p, keeping it parallel to itself, right? Please subscribe to my channel after this video, so you can get notifications of new videos as it comes. Anyway, so this is p and this is q. So what is p sine theta? I can let me write this pq sine theta as p sine theta times q. You could have written it like this also, p times q sine theta. So let's see what is p sine theta geometrically. So the magnitude of the arrow or the length of the arrow is p. So what is p sine theta? Do one thing, it's very simple. Just drop a perpendicular from this on q. That's all. Is it perpendicular? Yeah, I think so. So this is p sine theta, right? So this is p sine theta. So if this is p sine theta, so this is basically perpendicular, right? So what you are doing, you are multiplying q with p sine theta. So p sine theta is what? This is basically the height. So base times height. So that's area. Okay. So that's area. You can do the other way as well. Take q sine theta. What is q sine theta? It's very simple. Drop a perpendicular from q. Drop a perpendicular from q to this p. Okay. So in this case, this is q sine theta. So suppose take this as h1. So if this is h1, so this is as h2. So then what you are doing is you are basically multiplying the base, which is p times the height, right? Here, this p sine theta is h1 and q sine theta is h2. So again, this is also the area. So this is also the area. So it's the same area of the parallelogram. This is the proof, the geometrical proof that the magnitude of P cross Q is the area of the parallelogram. I shall do few problems, but before that, let me introduce or let me tell you that P cross Q, how to find P cross Q. Suppose you have a vector P, right? Let me write it in terms of components. So suppose we have a frame. So let's write P and Q in terms of components. Okay. In terms of I, J, and so I cap, J cap, K cap components. So that means what we have is we have a frame where x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis is there, right? So let's you can draw a frame here as well. It's not a problem. Let's draw the frame. Suppose you have, this is the x-axis, the horizontal axis is the x-axis, and suppose this is the z-axis, or suppose this is the y-axis. Suppose this is x. Okay, take this as y, and the perpendicular to this plane of the board is z. So you have a frame. In this case, the P and Q lie in the xy plane. This may not happen. Generally, you can have it like this. So this is, let me draw it generally. Suppose you have an axis, y-axis here, you have an x-axis here, and you have a z-axis here. We will do right-handed systems every time, right? So suppose this is x, this is y, and this is z. You go to my previous video of cross product, you will see what a right-handed system is. And suppose this is the origin, and you can have two vectors, the same two vectors you can have. Okay, let me so these two vectors are not in an xy plane. We have rotated it, we have changed the frame, the vector remains the same. So suppose this is P and this is Q, and these two vectors, suppose we have chosen origin in such a way that the origin of the coordinates is the touching point of P and Q. So that is my choice of coordinates. That doesn't break the generality of the system. So this is P and this is Q, and you can easily have components of P and Q along x, y, and z. You can draw perpendiculars from the tip of P to x, to y, and to z, and those will be, suppose let me write it as, let me take yellow. So that will be px times I cap plus py times j cap plus pz times k cap, and take q, very similar, qx times I cap plus qy times j cap plus qz times k cap. Okay, let me show you a little bit, that will help you. Let me draw few perpendiculars from this. Suppose I have dropped a perpendicular this. um, you can do it like this as well. You drop a perpendicular on the xy plane first, then you take drop perpendiculars from y and z. So that is very similar. If you drop directly perpendiculars from this tip to it's very similar. It's not a problem, it's the same case. You can join this and you can join this. Is just to make it simple, I have shown you like this, right? So it is not a problem. So this is perpendicular, this is definitely perpendicular, this is definitely perpendicular, as well as this is also perpendicular. So similarly you will draw perpendiculars from this q, tip of q to xyz. Here you are getting pz, here you are getting px, and here you are getting py. Very similar, you can draw perpendiculars. Let me drop them, that will help you. So this will be qy, this will be qx, and I can also drop it from here to z, or somewhere here. Let me take it in the first quadrant, or you can do one thing. I think this q is little down, right? So q is little down, so it should be, the perpendicular should be a little down. Let's extend this z axis a little bit. So that depends. Actually, you will not be able to make out from this picture which way q is pointed. Anyway, you can have a feel that it is in the first quadrant, but if it is in the x, y and minus z quadrant, then the perpendicular will be down or the perpendicular will be up. So that depends. It can be here. That depends which way q is pointed. So it's not a problem. So it can be here, it can be here as well. So, and these will be qx, qy and qz, right? And what will be the area? What will be the area? Let's draw this. Let's draw this. Do one thing, just slide q keeping it parallel to itself. Slide q keeping it parallel to itself. Yeah. This is the q. I think the magnitude is okay. And slide p keeping it parallel to itself. Yeah, this is it. I think so. Now let's this should be the area. This should be the area of the parallelogram. I hope you understand. Anyway, so this is the area of the parallelogram. The same parallelogram is here. The same parallelogram is here. Okay. So the same parallelogram is here. And I want to just mention, I shall prove it later, that why this cross product takes a form of a determinant. Anyway, so let me do this. P cross Q is basically, if you take a determinant like this, take a determinant, you have done this. This is a prerequisite. So I cap, J cap, K cap, then just write the components Px, Py, Pz, Qx, Qy, Qz, right? then this determinant is basically the cross product. So what you do is you take first I cap, you know how to solve a determinant, then you praise I cap so that these two rows are omitted. Okay, you don't take these two rows, then you multiply, sorry, then you let's write in terms of determinant. Then take this small determinant. Okay, take this small determinant, this one. What is left? The small part. Take the small part. So how do you write? Py pz qy qz qy qz. Then whenever you take j, you should take minus, because the reason is, I'll tell you later in a separate video. The j has the why this minus sign comes. Minus sign comes because the j is first row second column element, right? Suppose these are nth rows, so n is equals to 1, n equals to 2, n equals to 3, and suppose these are m columns, right? Suppose this is m is equals to 1, m equals to 2, m equals to 3. So this minus sign and the plus sign in front of the determinant comes like this. So let me write it first, then I will give an explanation why this minus is. This is basically minus 1 whole to the power m plus n. Let's do one thing. Let's delete this and let me do it again a little bit. And this is minus 1 whole to the power m plus n, right, times these determinants, So here what will be m plus n? Here m equals to 1 plus n equals to 1 times this determinant is py pz qy qz plus minus 1 whole to the power of first row. J's position is first row second column, so n equals to 1, m equals to 2, 1 plus 2, see 1 to the power 3, so that is minus 1. So this is whenever you press j, again whenever you are pressing j, what happens? See, whenever you are pressing j, so just remove these two rows and you are left with px pz qx qz, right? So px pz qx qz, right? So these four are there, right? Please identify these four, so it will make this picture clumsy. And again plus minus 1 whole to the power of, see here the kth position is 3 plus 1, so 1 row plus, sorry, 1 plus 3 times what, if you press k, so pz qz goes away, you have px py qx and qy, right? So now you expand the determinant. It's very simple. So this is, oh, I have missed this I cap, j cap, k cap. This should be I cap and this should be multiplied by j cap and this should be multiplied by k cap. You should not miss these things. So this is I cap times py qz minus pz qy. So here you must have a minus j cap but the order of multiplication is same. You're taking the first principal diagonal, then the cross, means px qz minus, right? So px qz minus pz qx, right? So plus k cap times px qy minus qx py, qx py. Okay, so this is how you find the cross product. This is the cross product of p and q using determinants. How it takes the form of a determinant I can show you separately, but let me not go into that. Let me do a few problems first, try to make you feel that this actually works, then we will go into the proof. So let me do a few problems. You will get these notes in the description box. Okay. See, here I have a problem. Calculate the area of a parallelogram whose two adjacent given by the vectors A. So it is I cap plus 2j plus 3k base 2i minus 3j plus k. Okay, and also find the unit vector along the normal perpendicular to A and B. So I don't want to make you bored. So what I have done is I have already calculated this determinant. You see the left of this board, A cross B, as the just exactly like the previous screen. Here A is basically I cap times AX, where AX is 1, right? Plus J cap times AY plus K cap times AZ, okay? And B is I cap times BX plus J cap, sorry, BY plus K cap times BZ. Here you can easily see that AX is 1, AY is 2, and AZ is 3, and BX is 2, BY is minus 3, and BZ is 1. And I have just represent this in this determinant. You check this determinant, follow this. See, 1, 2, 3, AX, AY, AZ, and this row, this third row is 2 minus 3, 1, right? And I have expanded this. So first I have taken I cap, then 2 times 1, 2 into 1, minus of 3 into minus 3 into 3. So that is it. So I have, this is I cap, this is J cap, this is K cap, and this is the resultant. So this is the term in the parenthesis. So this is basically 11, this is 11, right? So this is 11, this is 7, and this is minus 1. So these are the three things I have placed here. So this is A cross B. So what is A cross B? A cross B using determinants, so that is 11 I cap plus 7 J cap, so minus K cap. So this is the vector. So first part of the problem is done. Sorry, first part of the problem is not done. You need to find the area of the parallelogram. So area means magnitude of A cross B. Okay. So what is the magnitude of A cross B is basically, so the components of this square times to the power of half. So this is 11 square plus 7 square minus 1 plus of minus 1 whole square. So that is 11 square is 121 plus 49 plus 1. So that is how much? So 150 plus 49 plus 1 is 50, 50 plus 21 is 171. So 171 to the power half. whatever unit it is. If it is length, so then it's length square, so naturally it's the area, so unit square, so units, that's all. And now you need to find the unit vector perpendicular to the plane of a cross b. See, how do you find the unit vector? So unit vector, suppose n cap is basically a cross b. You take the vector divided by the magnitude of the vector, right? So the magnitude of the vector is already find out. This is the vector. So let me write 11 I cap plus 7 j cap minus k cap divided by 171 to the power of half. And let me write a plus minus in front of it. There is a reason. Reason is, see, this, suppose A is in this plane of the board. I have chosen a coordinate system such that suppose A and B both lie in the plane of the board. For example, I don't know where is x, where is the x coordinate, where is the y coordinate, where is the j coordinate. So this is A and this is B. Now perpendicular unit, you need to find the unit vector perpendicular, unit vector along the normal to the plane of A and B. So that may be inside as well as outside, right? So I don't know which way they are asking for the unit vectors. So I have taken this plus minus. Okay. I shall be doing few problems on vectors. For example, I shall prove this. See, this is the, these numbers are basically, I am taking the problem from my assignment. This law I shall prove, this sign law using cross product of vectors. I'll do this problem as well. This is a scalar triple product. I'll go into the scalar triple product after doing this. Okay, in the next lecture I shall do this problem and we'll go into the scalar triple product, where we shall be finding the volume of parallelepiped, and as well as I do few problems on vectors using these using cross product and dot products. Okay, so follow the lectures and subscribe to my channel as far as you can. Thank you very much.